I'm live. Yeah, says I am live. And you can see where I slept. Yeah, I slept right there last night. But today I'm at Hidden Path. If you want to find me, find Hidden Path. 123. Darkness, darkness. It wasn't real dark last night because the moon is sort of bright. It's getting close to a half, headed toward a new moon. But darkness, how do you deal with it? Darkness and gross darkness? Yeah, I just thought I'd do this today. I haven't done one live lately, but I can. I can do things as I speak, like type in and read. Darkness, darkness in the Bible. The word occurs 163 times in 145 verses in the Bible I'm reading, which I'm reading from NASB 95. Darkness begins in Genesis chapter 1. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the waters. And I might as well throw this out and let it be known. The Spirit of God is God. Uh, that's my take on it. The Spirit of God is God. It's not. It's not an angel. Angels are spirits of God. Some of them are evil, but that's Genesis 1:2. And in Genesis 1:4, God saw the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and there was morning one day. Evening and morning are not darkness. Darkness is night. He separated the light from the darkness, and the darkness he called night. But anyway, we still have the sun and the moon in the sky. And in Genesis chapter 15, when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and behold, terror, great darkness fell upon him. God was dealing with Abram in Genesis chapter 15. And the next thing you find is the Lord said to Moses in Exodus, stretch out your hand toward the sky, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even a darkness which may be felt. Now, how would you like to have been in Egypt when that took place? And Moses stretched out his hand toward the sky, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. You get that? God told Moses, stretch out your hand toward the sky, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even a darkness which may be felt. So Moses obeyed God, stretched out his hand toward the sky, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Egypt for 3 days. Folks, that was dark. And that was a long time ago. You find the word darkness in the book of Job a number of times. Job 3:6, Job 5:14, Job 10:21, Job 10:22, Job 11:17, Job 12:22, Job 12:25, 15:22, 15:23, and 15:30, 16:17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 26. And the last place in Job where you find the word darkness is in Job 38:19. Where is the way to the dwelling of light? And darkness, where is its place? Darkness and light. Last in Job chapter 38. Where is the way to the dwelling of light? And darkness, where is its place? In chapter 38, it's in 3 places. Let me just read these 3 places in Job chapter 38. When I made a cloud its garment, and thick darkness its swaddling band. That was verse 38, chapter 38, verse 9. In verse 17, have the gates of death been revealed to you? Or have you seen the gates of deep darkness? And in verse 19, where is the way to the dwelling of light? And darkness, where is its place? Those are the 3 places in Job chapter 38 that I just read. Now let's find darkness. The word darkness evidently is not in. It may be. I don't know. Let me check and see. Yeah, it will be. Darkness in Matthew. If your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? That's Matthew chapter 6. In chapter 8, but the sons of the kingdom will be cast out into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. In chapter 12, what I tell you in the darkness, speak in the light, and what you hear whispered in your ear, proclaim upon the housetops. That's Matthew. And in Matthew 22, the king said to the servants, bind him hand and foot and throw him into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. In Matthew, the word darkness is there several times. And I'm going to look at Luke. In Luke chapter 1, verse 79, to shine upon those who sit in darkness and the shadow of death. Can you see darkness and death being related, in some way there? To guide our feet to the way of peace. You can walk right into death, or you can walk right into light. And in chapter 11 of Luke, the eye is the lamp of your body. When your eye is clear, your whole body also is full of light. But when it is bad, your body also is full of darkness. Do you have eyes? Yes, you will have a situation because you have eyes. Because the eye is the lamp of your body. And in verse 35, that's verse 34 in chapter 11, the words, then watch out that the light in you is not darkness. Are you checking on yourself? Examine yourself. Are you even close to wanting to get out of darkness? You can get out of darkness. In Luke chapter 22:53, while I was with you daily in the temple, you did not lay on hands. You did not lay hands on me, but this hour and the power of darkness are yours. Jesus is being taken into custody in Luke chapter 22. And in 23, Jesus has been crucified. And it was about the sixth hour. That's the sixth hour of the day. You've got a number of hours that you can call darkness. You have a number of hours of day. Just split it up. You just call it 12 and 12. I know it doesn't add up that way all the time, but let's go for it. Now it was the sixth hour, and darkness fell over the whole land until the ninth hour. So from the sixth hour to the ninth hour, it was dark. We just read where Moses put his hand to the sky, and it was dark over Egypt for 3 days that they could feel. Now, I don't know how dark it was the day Jesus was crucified, but I do know for certain that he was crucified and raised from the dead. Acts chapter 2, verse 20. The sun will be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and glorious day of the Lord shall come. That's a lot there. That's Acts chapter 2, verse 20. And in chapter 13, a man named Paul has run into a problem. And Paul says in chapter 13, verse 11, now behold, the hand of the Lord is upon you, and you will be blind and not see the sun for a time. And immediately a mist and a darkness fell upon him, and he went about seeking those who would lead him by the hand. Now, who said those words to this man in Acts chapter 13? In Acts chapter 26, to open their eyes so that they may turn from darkness to light and from the dominion of Satan to God, that they may receive the forgiveness of sins and an inheritance among those who have been sanctified by faith in me. Faith in Jesus of Nazareth. Faith in the words that he spoke. Faith in. Paul is the one that told the man in chapter 13, the hand of the Lord is upon you, and you will be blind and not see the sun for a time. And immediately a mist and a darkness fell upon him, and he went about seeking those who would lead him by the hand. In Romans chapter 2, verse 19, are you confident that you yourself are a guide to the blind? You remember this man that got blind? Went around and found somebody that would lead him by the hand while he was blind. Are you confident that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness? Are you? Are you? I can't answer these questions. In chapter 13, the night is almost gone and the day is near. Therefore, let us lay aside the deeds of darkness and put on the armor of light. What are you wearing? Have you done anything? Folks, we cannot escape this. It cannot be escaped. If you are alive and on the earth, it pertains to you and your neighbor, whether he's near or far. Listen, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 5, Paul said, do not go on passing judgment before the time, but wait. The Lord comes, who will bring to light the things hidden in the darkness and disclose the motives of hearts. And then each man's praise will come to him from God. Who raised Jesus from the dead? Who brought Jesus out of death? Who brought Jesus into life or light forever? The same God that said in the beginning, let there be light. Listen, for God who said, let light, in 1 Corinthians chapter 4, I just read that one. 2 Corinthians 4, 6. For God who said, light shall shine out of darkness, is the one who is shown in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Christ. Do not be bound together with unbelievers. For what partnership have righteousness and lawlessness? What fellowship has light with darkness? Ephesians 5:8. You were formerly darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. In order for you to walk, you got to move. And in verse 11 of the same chapter, Ephesians chapter 5, do not participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but instead even expose them. In chapter 6, verse 12, our struggle is not against flesh and blood. Are you fighting against your own flesh? Are you fighting against your own blood? Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness. These forces are spiritual wickedness in the heavenly places. That's why the things above are where they are, the heavenly places. 1 Corinthians, he rescued us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son. Who rescued? Who transferred? Did you transfer yourself? Who did this? And then you get to Thessalonians chapter 5. And he's talking to the people. He says, "You, brethren, are not in darkness, that that day would overtake you like a thief." He says in verse 5, "For you are all sons of light and sons of day. We are not of the darkness. Are you of the darkness? Am I of the darkness? If we are, and we are one or the other to some degree." No. Peter said in chapter 2, "A chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, people for God's own possession, so that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." God did not spare angels when they sinned, but cast them into hell and committed them to pits of darkness reserved for judgment. In 2 Peter 2, verse 17, "These are springs without water, mists driven by a storm, for whom the black darkness has been reserved." Folks, darkness, gross darkness. Now, I'm going to do light. GHT. Light. 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 229 times in 200 verses in the NASB 95. We got several pages. I read earlier, then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. No, I didn't read that earlier, but this is chapter 3, 1 verse 3 in Genesis. "And God saw the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness." Who separated the light from the darkness? It was God. "And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening and morning one day." That's Genesis chapter 1, verse 3, 4, and 5. And you read more and you find the word light in Genesis in several other places. You will. You will find in Job the word light. In Job chapter 3, verse 4, may that day be darkness. Let not God above care for it, nor light shine on it. In chapter 3, verse 9, let the stars of its twilight be darkened. Let it wait for light, but have none. And let it not seek the breaking of dawn. The light at night. There is no light at night. In Job chapter 3, why is light given to him who suffers, and life to the bitter of soul? Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden and whom God has hedged in? Those are places that you find the word light. Listen, in Job 29, verse 24, "I smiled on them when they did not believe, and the light of my face they did not cast down." Folks, I'm going to go to the New Testament now, and we're going to find light. I'm going to find it in Matthew, I'm sure. If not in Matthew, it'll be found where? It is in Matthew chapter 5, verse 14. Chapter 5, verse 14, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. That's Matthew 5:14. In verse 15, no one, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Verse 16, let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. In chapter 6, the eye is the lamp of the body. So then, if your eye is clear, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light that is in you is darkness, how great is the darkness? Did I not just read that? Because you got the word darkness twice in Matthew chapter 6, verse 23. I read it a minute ago. What I tell you in the darkness, speak in the light. What you hear whispered in your ear, proclaim upon the housetops. Let's look at Luke. Luke chapter 2, verse 32. A light of revelation to the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel. A light of revelation to the Gentiles and the glory of your people Israel. Who is the one that caused the light to separate from the darkness? Who was the one that chose a people to be his people? The glory of your people Israel. God is the light that lights lamps. And if your lamp goes out, you won't be lit. And some lamps have gone out, no doubt. But listen, in Luke chapter 8, no one after lighting a lamp covers it over with a container or puts it under a bed, but he puts it on a lampstand so that those who come in may see the light. In verse 17, the next verse, nothing is hidden that will not become evident, and nothing in anything secret that will not be known and come to light. In other words, don't hide it because it's going to be found. That's what that means. You try to hide, you'll be found. God is going to shine. No one, after lighting a lamp, in chapter 11 of Luke, puts it away in a cellar, nor under a basket, but on the lampstand, so that those who may enter may see the light. Chapter 11, what was it? Chapter 11, we just read it. The eye is the lamp of your body. When your eye is clear, your whole body is also full of light. But when it is bad, your body is full of darkness. Verse 35, then watch out that the light in you is not darkness. In chapter 11, verse 36, the very next verse, if therefore your whole body is full of light with no dark part in it, it will be wholly illumined as with the lamp, as when the lamp illumines you with its rays. In chapter 12, Jesus made it clear that we read it a while ago. Accordingly, whatever you have said in the dark will be heard in the light, and what you have whispered in the inner rooms will be proclaimed upon the housetops. And then he talks about what? A woman. She has silver coins. She loses one. She will light a lamp, sweep the house, and look for it. Folks, that's not the last place that it's in the book. It's not. Let's look a little bit in Corinthians. No, let's go back to Acts chapter 3, Acts chapter 9. Paul was approaching Damascus, and suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. A light from heaven flashed around him, and he was blinded. In Acts chapter 12, verse 7, an angel of the Lord suddenly appeared, and a light shone in the cell. An angel of the Lord and struck Peter's side and woke him up and said, "Get up quickly." And his chains fell off his hands. I'm not going to say any more about that. But God did some things. And in Acts chapter 13, verse 47, for so the Lord has commanded us, I have placed you as a light for the Gentiles, that you may bring salvation to the end of the earth. Who got this command? Paul was the man of the day. He came out of darkness. The bright light flashed, and he went out and he preached. Acts 26, Acts 22, verse 6. I was on my way approaching Damascus at noontime. A very bright light suddenly flashed from heaven all around me. And in verse 9, those who were with me saw the light, but did not understand the voice of the one who was speaking to me. And in verse 11, since I could not see because of the brightness of the light, I was led by the hand by those who were with me into Damascus. But a man came and laid hands on Saul, and the darkness went away. And in Acts, Paul went about doing what he should do. He preached to the people. He did. Why? To open their eyes so that they may turn from darkness to light and from the dominion of Satan to God. Are you turning, or are you refusing to be turned? I pray today that you are turning away from Satan to God, because that you may receive forgiveness of sins and inheritance among those who have been sanctified by faith. Jesus has been raised from the dead, friends. And this same Jesus that was raised from the dead is going to bring with him very much light the day he appears. As for now, you got some darkness. But there is the light of the gospel. 2 Corinthians 2. No, 2 Corinthians 4, verse 4. 4 or 5 in 1 Corinthians. Do not go on passing judgment before the time, but wait until the Lord comes, who will both bring to light the things hidden in the darkness and disclose the motives of hearts, and then each man's praise will come to him from God. 2 Corinthians 4:4, in whose case the God of this world has blinded the minds of the unbelieving, so that they might not see the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. Are you being changed? Or are you refusing change? Mhm. Yeah. 35 minutes and this stream will end. It will end now.